Hello there. Are you an author? Are you thinking about becoming an author? Did you just become an author this year? Are you planning to become an author for the second or third time? Regardless of where you are on your journey, this conversation is for you. I'm calling this your first 10K from your first book. This is my focus. This is what I love to do. I love to work with first-time authors, and I love to take people from 0 to 60 real quick. This is the love of my life. So I want you to get your pen and your paper. This is going to be a long training. And I'm actually going to break this up into 5 or 6 different parts. So this will be the intro. And then I'm going to give you several parts to follow over the next 2 weeks, because by the time we hit April, I need you lean in and listen. Hear me when I say this. I need you to be on your A game when it comes to selling your books, selling yourself, and pushing your brand. I need you to be on your A game, because Q1 is all the way done. Okay. Q1 will be done. You had January, you had February, you had March. It's getting ready to be April. So if you haven't done your first 10K with your first book, you getting ready to get on your A game. You getting ready to blow your goals out of the water for this next quarter. If you're a teacher, it's kind of like semester 1 is done. Now you're on semester 2. You need to hit the ground running, right? If you're on trimesters, because I know a lot of y'all are in the field of education, because that's where I come from. You already know Q1 is done. Q2 is done. You're in the last stretch. You're in the final countdown. I need you to be on your A game. I need you to be like so freaking serious and so freaking laser focused. I need you to be like just not even on the phone. Like, I need you to be so locked and loaded. I need you to be so focused and so intentional and strategic about the conversations that you have, about the rooms that you go into, about the people that you're hanging out with and spending all your energy with. I'm going to need you to be on your A game, because this next quarter, let me just tell you how important this quarter is. First quarter is almost done. This first quarter has been my best quarter in like 5 years. You know why? Because I started doing all these activities, income producing activities, like to the max last year, at the end of last year in Q4. Like the light bulb went on and I was like, oh, I need to be on my A game, because when 2024 hits, I'm all about more. I got my passport too. Oh, I'm about to be on the road. I told myself that in Q4 of last year, and I hit the ground running December, January, February, March, and now I'm like, phew, explosive. So I need you to be on your A game for these next few months, because if you can get yourself together and get your life right, you can end this year with a bang. Now, some of y'all might be like, what's she talking about? It's only March. Like, really? Seriously? It's March, boo. It's March. January's gone, February's gone, it's March, and we're halfway done with March. So if you haven't done what you thought you were going to do this year, it's not going to happen by itself. I have a good friend. We were just talking the other day about weight loss. And she was like, she said, you know what? I just decided I'm going to go to the gym twice a day. I said, oh, hell yeah. You're going to get 2 bangs out of your buck. She was like, yeah, these damn pounds ain't going to lose themselves. I was like, what? who's losing themselves. What? She said that out loud. And I said, that's funny as hell. Because you know what? When I was on my weight loss journey, and I'm going to post some pictures so y'all can see how big I was. You're not even going to believe how big I was in 2012. I was big as hell. I was like a size 18 or 20 or something like that. And I was like, oh, never again in life will I be an 18. Never again in life will I be a size 16 or 14 because I don't live in that neighborhood. So I'm getting ready to give you some information that's going to transform your income. And I want you to get your pen and paper. I want you to lean in and listen. And I want you to be real serious and get ready to get laser focused, because you don't have to have anything to start this. You don't need more time. You don't need more energy, and you don't need more money. You need to focus. You need more focus, a singular focus, and that's it. When I started publishing my own books in 2017, I was below negative. Did you hear me? I was below zero, right? I just passed right on by zero. I was in the negatives, the negative 2 digits in multiple bank accounts. So don't sit up here and don't listen to this excuse in your head. Well, I don't have any money, so I can't write a book because I don't have any money. And you keep doing that, you ain't never going to have any money. You keep doing that, you ain't never going to have no time. You ain't never going to have no energy. You ain't never going to have no money. You ain't never going to have no nothing if you keep thinking that way. Fix your mindset. I'm going to be teaching over these next few days. And this is going to be a 6-part series. That just popped up in my mind right now, because this is 7 years of me. I'm getting ready to unveil 7 years of what I've been through. And I'm still standing. 7 years of me producing books, selling books, being focused on books. Okay? 7 years of me focusing on what I got to do for my life and my legacy. That's what I'm getting ready to unroll. I'm about to roll out the red carpet for you. And I'm going to give you the behind the scenes nitty gritty on what it's been like for me. So this is going to be a long one tonight. I'm long winded. I'm locked and loaded. I got my water. And I want to shout you out real quick before I really get going. I want to shout you out. So, hey, Keishan, I see you, beautiful queen. I see you. I love it. Thank you for being in here. Who else is in here? Yes. See, it doesn't give me, I love StreamYard. StreamYard is amazing. But it doesn't give me the names of the people that are in the room. And it doesn't really give me, it doesn't give me a whole lot of information until I'm off of here. So I love audience participation. I don't want to talk at people. I want to talk with you. I want to move. I want to bob and weave. I want to be, interactive. So if you're here and you want to be interactive with me, I see that heart. Oh, thank you for that heart. Facebook pays me for those hearts. Every time you engage with me, you give me those hearts, or you share my videos, Facebook gives me money. So thank you. It's a win-win. It's the law of reciprocity. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, let me shout you out. I see Keishan is in here. Who else is in here with me? Who's giving me the heart? Okay, that's Keisha giving me the heart too. Thank you. And if you're already authors, you better get in here. If you have a friend who's an author, who's thinking about being authors, or if you know somebody who should be an author, but they're still running from their calling, go ahead and share this video with them. You know what? I am not judging people. I'll tell you right now, I was supposed to be an author back in 2005. And I ran for 12 years. I was pregnant with my book for 12 years. And I didn't do it because I was afraid. I could have already been a billionaire sitting on my yacht, flying in from my private jet. I could have already accomplished those goals. I could have already built my schools around the world teaching entrepreneurship for young people. I could have already had that done. Man, I could have been already sitting on vacation with the billionaires, right? If I would have started my book publishing back in 2005. But it's okay. It's okay, because I don't even think the world was ready for me yet. Because I know I wasn't ready for me yet. The me that I am today, I was praying that I was going to be, right? But I had to shake off a lot of things. I had to unearth some things about myself. I had to do a lot of therapy. And so tonight, this conversation is going to be highly engaging, very informative and educational and spiritual at the same time, because guess what? This is what I believe. You were created by a creator for the purpose of creating. Woo! It's going to be a little bit of church up in here tonight. For those of y'all that are on the East Coast, we're going to be up late tonight. We're going to be studying because I have some data. I did some research for you guys when it comes to the numbers and the money and how much authors make. And I have some data for you. I have some statistics for you. So it's not going to be any fluff tonight. It's going to be some things that I want you to really digest and get deep down in your soul. I always like to say, put this in your pipe and smoke it. I want this to get into your bones, because Q2, it's all about you, boo. Q2 is coming April 1st, and you better be ready, because it's coming like a thief in the night. You don't get to control time, but you get to control what you do with your time. And so I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here, sharing this time with me. For those of you that you already know, you're like, I need some help. I need to get this book out. You don't know, LT, you done already lit the fire under my ass. How do I get it? How do I get in touch with you? My email is scrolling across the bottom. If you already know you need a coach, you already know you're ready for Q2, and you want to get this party started. Like you're like, look, I need to go from 0 to 60 real quick. Contact me. Contact at LatashaJemersonLibrary.com. You need to get into my room so we can have a conversation about how I can support you on your journey and help guide you in the right direction. Because a lot of this stuff is mindset. That's all it is, right? Like your first 10K is mindset. Your first book is mindset. Your first time on stage is mindset. And here's what happens with a lot of authors. And this is what happened with me. So I'm not judging nobody. I'm not judging anybody. I'm telling you what happened to me. And I've helped 50 authors at this point to cross over that bridge from being a writer to an author. And I know what happens in the journey because I've been in my head. I'm Aquarius. Aquarius women were very much in our heads, and very much we could be airheads sometimes too, because we're always thinking, planning, calibrating. But thank God we're also able to use both sides of our brain and the intuitive piece, because I'm very intuitive and empathetic as well, and empathic as well. So the information that I'm giving you is not information that is going to be something for you just to take notes and throw it into a journal somewhere. This is information for you to put in your pipe and smoke it. This is information for you to take and give it to someone else, and y'all need to have a conversation and a study group around it, because this is what I've been studying for the past 7 years since I've been publishing myself and helping 50 authors do the same thing. So if you have anything to do with any authors, you need to get them on to this video. You need to share this video with them. This replay will only be available for the next, I don't know how many hours I'm gonna make it available, but this replay, this is actually gonna be a part of my new program that I'm coming out with, that I'm about to roll out with pretty soon. And so this recording is not gonna be available for too long. So whoever needs to be in here and needs to hear my voice and see my face, get them in here now. Bring them in here now. And if you're in here and you've already learned something, raise your hand so I can call you out. Thank you, Keishan, for still being in here. I appreciate you. Some people jump on and then they jump right off. That's fine with me. I'm cool with that. I only want to serve who God meant for me to serve. I'm not trying to serve everybody. Just the people who will benefit the most. And so I'm telling you about this Q1 concept. Business owners, you know what I'm talking about. Educators is like semester 1 is done, trimester 1 is done. And if anything happens to, let me see, connection is unstable. If you are on, okay, connection is fairly good. Okay, yeah, we've been having some issues in the area. Hey, we're back. Okay, yeah, we've been having some connection issues in my whole neighborhood, actually. So right now the connection is strong and it's amazing. Okay, but if the connection starts to get a little weird, that's why. Like literally, I'm not even going to talk about the issues that we were having earlier because they're not happening right now. So it don't matter. But anyway, grab a cup, okay? You can grab a bowl of popcorn because it's going to be a long one tonight. Settle in, get in your favorite chair. This is going to be a long one because I'm going to take all of my wisdom, all my knowledge and expertise, the things that I've learned over this past 7 years about publishing. I'm going to unroll that for you tonight. I'm going to roll out the red carpet and I'm going to let you take a look into my back office so you can see what I've been building for the past 7 years. And I truly, this is last year and this year. This is the first time that I'm doing like hindsight 2020, right? Like I'm really looking back like, whoa, I've really been doing this 7 years. This is outstanding. Like, excuse me. All of the things that I teach in my classes and in my community and on my lives and on my YouTube channel, everything that I am teaching now are things that I made mistakes on earlier, things that I thought were setbacks and obstacles and problems, like all of the things that I used to complain about. I'm like, whoa, that was a whole education. Like, I'm so glad that I went through that because look at what I learned and look at how much wisdom I have and how much I'm able to support my people, right? So let me just tell you a little bit about the journey, because if you are anyone who has been at all remotely even thinking about writing a book, let me just give you the rundown. So I'm a middle school teacher. I've taught high school. I've taught English. I've taught social studies. Teaching is in my blood. So I started teaching in 2003. And I'm a social butterfly. So immediately, I started connecting with people and networking with people right away in my career. Like even in college, I was a super connector, super networker in clubs and everything. And so I started connecting with people who were smarter than me and faster than me and younger than me and who could just do, had more experience than me and different backgrounds. So I had a friend at this time, she's still my friend, and she said, you need to publish a book. And I was like, why? Because she would hear me talking during meetings and we were on the same team and we would problem solve. And I never understood why I always gravitated I'm an English/history teacher, but I always hung out with the science people. I never really thought about that, but I love, even when I was a little girl, I love taking things apart and putting them back together again and understanding how they work. And so with this whole publishing industry, I have been in the lab studying, mixing and matching and swiveling. And I have been playing with ideas and throwing things out and testing theories and making my own little observations. And I mean, it's become something freaking phenomenal. And so she was a science teacher and she said, you need to write a book. And I was like, why? She's like, no, you just need to write a book. You have some interesting ideas, write a book. She's like, I'm published. I know how to get you published. I can help you through the process. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's you. Great for you. I started coming up with, mindset. I started coming up with all these excuses. I don't have money. I don't have time. I don't have energy. I don't have a PhD like you do. I don't have the connections that you do. I'm not the same color as you. Like, all of these things were in my mind. Like I made all the reasons why we were not alike. I made those excuses instead of looking at the ways that we were alike. Instead of looking at the things that we had in common and saying, well, damn, if you can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. My mindset was all jacked up. And so that kept me from even exploring or entertaining the idea of writing a book. I would support anyone else who was doing it. I was the biggest cheerleader for anyone else who was doing whatever. But see, this is what you need. You need to check yourself on this. Because some of y'all gonna look at the title and say, your first 10K from your first book, shit, I can't even make 1K. I know you thinking that because I used to think that too. Well, shit, I ain't gonna make 1K off of this damn book. Are you kidding me? And so I love to trigger people. I love to trigger people. I love it because the thing is, you will only make as much as you think you can make, right? And so I'm a classroom teacher. But don't get me wrong, I never really had problems making money. I was a six-figure teacher because I understood the importance of being at six figures real quick, as fast as you can get. Now, trust me though, I always had a side hustle. I had my regular teaching job and I had a bunch of extra duties which would push me up on that pay scale. And I made sure that I had all my units, my master's plus 30. Those of y'all that are teachers, you know that plus 30 means more money. But I wasn't trying to go back and get the doctorate degree because it just didn't make economic sense to me to go back in school and spend more money to get this much money. Nah. So what I did was I just made sure I always had an extra duty. I made sure that I always advocated for myself and made as much money as I could. And I always had at least 2 side hustles on the side because I was going to make 6 figures. Like that was the floor for me. It was not acceptable not to make 6 figures as a teacher and raise 3 kids in the state of California. So my mindset in terms of the money, it was there. And that's one thing that you need to work on. If you don't envision yourself making a lot of money, you need to work on your mindset because you won't. You won't. If you don't believe that you can do it, you won't. And my mom told me when I was like 12 years old, she was like, girl, you better go get some business for yourself. My mom and I wrote a book together. And in the book, I talk about how she raised me to go make money. And so I'll be honest, I had a slight advantage over most people because my mom wasn't playing. She was a single mom of 3 kids and she had about 3 jobs. And I was there helping her along the way, with providing for our household. And as I got older, I realized that you got to have multiple streams of income. You can't be surviving on one income. What you gonna do with one income? Like just pay your basic, just barely make it? So my mindset for making money was already set by the time I was 12 years old because I saw my mom struggle. I saw my mom do lots of different types of jobs. And I was like, damn. And she told me, you don't want to get a job, you want to have a career. And you want to go to school and you want to get them college degrees. And she was like, don't stop at just one. She's still pushing me. Like a couple weeks ago, she told me to go back and get the PhD. I was like, what the what? She's always been there. So that's been my slight advantage over most people, is because she was like, I know you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. She was like, I did this, you do better. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So every type of job opportunity that I ever had, I knew how to negotiate for my own money. I knew how to make more money on top of the regular money. So your first 10K from your first book, that should be an expectation for you. That should be where your mind is at from now on. And if it hasn't been there, I want you to calibrate your mind to your first 10K from your first book. And your first book should finance your second book. Because I don't want to hear you out here trying to write a second book and you ain't selling the first one. Trust me, I did this. I'm not judging. I'm not criticizing. I'm not putting you on Front Street. I'm putting myself out there. Because like I said, when I first started writing books in 2017, I was just on negative, right? I made a lot of money, but I spent a lot of money too. So I was on negative, putting books out. And I thought the more books I put out, the more money I'll make. Because I was listening to some guru on YouTube. And a lot of the gurus in 2017 some of them were pretty good, and they gave me some guidance. But there was one particular one that I was listening to, and it didn't work for me. And see, that's the other thing you need to know. When y'all go out and hire these gurus, you got to look at where they are on their journey and how it worked for them. And then you need to figure out in your spare time how the system is going to work for you. And if it's the right process, do it and try it and work it and do it until you see that maybe it's not working. It's all about you, boo. In the end, you got to know who you are. You got to know your vision, your goals, your mission, and you got to know what you need, right? You have to be self-aware. You have to know who you are as a human, and then you can figure out who you are as an author. And so this is what I want to unravel for you. I want to unravel this. I want you to get this. I want you to get this information. I want you to soak it in. Because I want you to look at my journey, and I want you to compare it to your journey. And I want you to compare and contrast. I want you to look at what we have in common. And I want you to say, well, damn, if she could do it, I could do it. But I also want you to look at what the differences are, because there are some twists and turns that you may need to take that I didn't take. And you know that. One of my mentors calls it your knower, your intuition, your inner guidance, right? And your spiritual connection with your creator is going to reveal to you how life should unfold for you. And so take what I'm teaching, take notes, put it in your pipe and smoke it. Apply it to your life and come back and let me know how it worked. Because here's the deal. If you are an author, you're thinking about becoming an author, it's been in your mind, it's been in your soul, it's been in your heart. God has already assigned a group of people to you. You already have a group of people. You're just not aware of them yet. They're aware of you, but you're not aware of them. because you're spending too much time in your head. How do I know? Because I did it. So let's get into this. So I'm calling this your first 10K from your first book, because when you get to your first 10K from your first book, then you can start talking about another book, right? Because that means you've got enough people in your audience who are interested in your next book. And you've also got enough people in your audience who will literally tell you what to write in your next book. See, don't come out here like I was. I produced 8 different books and I'm only really selling one of them, because only one of them is really what people want to know. Like, my memoir was great. People liked it. Like, okay. But what they really wanted to know, the $1 million question was, how the hell did you write that book? How did you publish that book? How did you learn how to sell that book? And how are you still relevant with that book? Like, I want to do that. That's what people started asking me. I want to do what you did. How? How did you do it? And I'll tell you this. At first, I told people no, because I was happy as a teacher. I was happy. I had a salary. I had 2 cars and a house. I had the kids and the spouse. Like, everything was good. I was going to church. I had my side hustles. You couldn't tell me nothing, right? But I wasn't really fulfilled. I didn't really feel like I was living the dream, right? I had all these things, but I wasn't really truly who God meant for me to be. I was not living like I'm living now, with my best life in front of me, right? And all around me, and my people that I hang out with, my good energy friends and all of that. I wasn't living my best life. And so I started writing so that I could get in touch with my best parts of myself, my inner being, right? And so I started praying, I started meditating, and I started journaling. And oh my gosh, things started opening up. My mind started expanding. I started learning. I started going back and reading the things that I had written. And I was like, whoa, I'm a big thinker. Like, whoa, I have a big vision for my life. I have a big dream. Like, God has given me and it's scary. It was scaring me. It was really scaring me, because I was like, sometimes I would read my journal and I would cry. Raise your hand if you've ever done that. If you've ever read your journal and just wept like a baby, just cried. Yeah, because I got so much back into my spiritual side. I really started just getting into the scriptures, the Bible. I really started studying for myself. Study to show thyself approved. All that stuff in church was nice, but I started learning for me. And when you start reading God's word for you, oh man, I started reading God's word to get answers for my life. And then I started really just journaling, really writing down, what was he giving me? What were the downloads? What were the ideas? What were the theories? What were the questions? What were the answers? Research. I started researching myself, because I knew how to research for school. I have 4 college degrees. I have an associate's in criminal justice. I have a bachelor's in history. I have a teaching credential for the state of California. I have a master's degree in education with a specialization in teaching. I've taught a lot of different things. And one thing I had to learn as an adult was I have to go back and study myself. I have to study and see who I am and what I need. So I started studying myself, started writing and publishing. And then immediately, like, my book was only out for 1 year, and people started saying, can you coach me on, well, they didn't say coach me, because we didn't know that language. My teacher friends were like, can you help me write my book? And I was like, like, I don't really want to. And so then I was like, all right. Here's what we do. Because I don't want to be rude. Just take me to coffee. Let's just go to coffee, sit down, talk about it, see what happens. Sat down for coffee, started talking about books for hours and hours and hours. And the coffee shop closed down. We shut it down. And so we started going for dinner. Let's go hang out for dinner. Let's talk. And then it was happy hours. And then it was this, and it was like, all right. Look, this is too much. Like there's too many questions. Y'all are asking me the same questions over and over again. So, okay, maybe I need to put together maybe an online course. So I put together an online course for people to just go take. And yeah, some people took it and some people finished it and some people didn't finish it. And I was like, mediocre results. And then I started my coaching program and I was like, let's see what's going to happen with this. Excuse me. The first round, I enrolled 4 people and one out of the 4 finished their book. I was so brokenhearted. I was like, wow, how could this happen? And of course, instead of just continuing to go, I took a break and I was like, I gotta wallow in self-pity. I gotta feel sorry for myself for like 3 months and then I'll try it again. And thank God I had my day job, right? And so I would teach and then spring break would come and I would start looking around to see who wanted to write a book. And then, I would go back and it would be summertime and then I would really like pick up clients because teachers are like, oh, it's summertime. I can do some things that I don't normally get a chance to do. So from 2018 until about 2021, I was teaching and coaching at the same time. So I had my teaching job, I had my coaching job, and somewhere in there was raising kids and going to church and trying to have a life, right? And it was just like this from 2018 to 2021. And then 2021, I had a decision to make because I started getting more and more and more clients. And I said, well, shit, let me see how much money am I making from this and how much money am I making from that? And whichever one I'm making more money in, I got to drop the other one. And so coaching won. And I was like, I ain't teaching because I'm making a lot more money from this coaching business. And so, people got greedy and people got ugly because, money kind of changes people a little bit. And I had to let some folks go. I had to literally take some folks out of my life before I could actually expand in the way that God wanted me to expand. So here I am in 2024. I've been doing this publishing thing for 7 years, coaching since 2018. So what is that? 6 years. Producing online courses since 2020. So what is that? 4 years. Been making YouTube channels ever since 2021. Built my own website all by myself. Started a podcast, got 13 episodes of the podcast done. Created a teacher summit online for teachers to come and enjoy and learn about entrepreneurship. And here I am with this whole brand and this whole business. And it just started with one book. It started with my memoir. And I'm so glad that my friend told me, you should write a book. Because I really, it wasn't going to be a thought that I would have come up with myself. It was just God, using people to tell me, and then when it was time to write more books, people would tell me, hey, you should write another book about, and I would be like, what do you want to learn? Because I'm going to go online and research it and write it. And then, I never produce anything that people don't ask for, because then that means nobody's going to buy it. So now let's shift gears and talk about this first 10K from your first book. Because I'll be honest with you, my first client that I enrolled into my course, I only charged $600 to work with me for 90 days on their book. And so that was quite an experience, and it was a lot of work. And I learned from it. Okay, you don't have enough time, and that's definitely not enough money. And so the second cohort, I charged $1,200, and that still wasn't enough money. And so I had another cohort, and each one of my clients, I would work with them in a group. So in the beginning, I worked with people in a group. Like I kind of started differently than some coaches do. Some coaches start working with people one-on-one first, and then they do a group. I did it like I do things my own way. So I had a lot of bumps and bruises. I did a lot of research, and I took a lot of notes, and I found out, what I was doing wrong and where the holes were and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I learned to do intuitively, and also this was taught to me by different coaches, because I've always had a coach helping me with something, some part of my life, whether it was a wellness coach when I was really super overweight, and I wanted to be strong. I had a couple wellness coaches. I've had a coach for public speaking. I have had a sales coach. I've had a branding coach. I've hired a lot of coaches to help me with a lot of things, mindset coaching. One coach worked with me on reparenting my inner child. That was super important. I've had a relationship coach to coach me on the relationship with myself, which impacts the romantic relationships that I have with other people. So I am a highly invested person who will drop thousands on a coach. So let me just also give you that information. I have no problem investing in myself. I still have student loans from when I got those 4 college degrees, and it doesn't bother me because I'm going to invest in myself at a high level, and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to finance it. And I'm just going to pay it off. That's just the way it goes. I don't believe in going without education or going without coaching or going without anything because of money. Like, no, we're going to figure that out. We're going to figure this money situation out because I'm getting what I need to get. And some of you need to start thinking that way. You need to start putting yourself on the front burner and putting everybody else on the back, because guess what? If you don't finance your dream, you damn sure can't finance your child's dream. How's that going to work? You can't finance nobody else's dream until you finance your dream. And your dream needs to be big enough. It needs to be large enough to where after you're done investing in yourself, you have something left over for other people. That's why you got to dream big. That's why I'm saying Q2, you need to be on your A game. You need to bring it like you ain't never brought it in your life, because your life just might depend on it. You never know what's going to happen in this world. You never know what's going to happen in the overall economy or your own personal economy. I tend to focus on my own personal economy. That's just me. The outside economy is going to do what it do. But I know what I got to do for me. And so I've never allowed money to stop me from getting anything that I wanted. The car, the house, the clothes, whatever it is, the college education, the food, whatever. Like, don't allow the fact that, oh, I can't afford it. Don't even say that. I can't afford it. No. Because you can figure out a way to afford it. You need to be more resourceful, and you need to grab some different resources. Okay. All right. So let me continue to unveil my journey. So I called my clients after like the 3rd cohort of clients. I started calling them, asking them, so, what do you think I could do to improve this coaching program? And nobody really knew, because we didn't know. None of us knew what the hell was going on. We didn't know what we were doing, right? So we didn't know. They're like, you're pretty great. I don't know. And I was like, no, like, what could I have done to make the experience better? And they're like, I don't know, really. I don't know, provide more time for Q&A, who knows? So after having these conversations, and I asked for testimonials and I asked for video case studies and we did all that stuff, had a lot of fun. And I still have their phone numbers in my phone, like my original people that I enrolled in my online courses and in my coaching programs. We became friends. I mean, family, and we keep in touch because this is amazing. This is beyond business. This is my life. Like, this is my lifestyle. This is who I am. This is my whole brand. It's my name. It's my personality. It's all of it. It's all of this. That's what people are getting when they come into my world. They're getting all of this. And so I don't price myself low because I have a high value. There's a premium on my time and there's a premium on what's in my mind because I've been doing this. I've put in my 10,000 hours. And if you're an expert, professional, you've been in your career for over 20 years, you've already done well beyond the 10,000 hours that you need to master a skill. You're a master. On my resume, I put master teacher. And it's like, some people look at me like, who she thinks she is? I am a master teacher because I've mastered the art of teaching and I've been doing it for 20 years. So if I hadn't mastered it, shame on me. Shame on you for you to not be a master and you've been doing something for 20 years. You should be a master at what you do. And so my prices are not low because you're getting a lot. And so I had a conversation with one of my clients and she said, I can't believe that I just published my book in October and it's February. She said, and I've made $3,000 off of this book. And when she said that to me, I said, I'm happy for you. And then I went behind the scenes and cried because I didn't even charge her $3,000 to work with me. I charged her way less. And I cried. I was like, I'm not charging enough. And so on the next call, my price was now what? What was it? It was $3,000. And that next customer paid in full. And I was like, did someone just pay me $3,000 to help them with a book? Oh my God, like, what is this? What is this? And all of a sudden, all of the books that I ever read came into my mind. Think and Grow Rich, all true. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all true. The Power of Positive Thinking, all true. So many more, but those are the main ones. Those are the financial literacy books that came to my mind, and the positive thinking and the mindset. The mindset and the financial literacy books, those are the books that I really, really needed. And those are the books that pushed me up until like, wow, like just completely shifted my whole, the way I thought about myself and the way I thought about making money and what I thought about living in this capitalistic society, right? I used to be so angry at people who had a lot of money. I used to be so irritated, thinking that somehow, this capitalistic society, blah, 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 all that stuff would happen in my head. And then when I started coaching, I was like, I get it. I get it. Okay. Let's go. I was like, let's go. It's on. I understand it. It clicked. Let's go. Woo! So I worked with that client and then I got a couple more clients and I raised my price up to $6,000 and then I raised it up to $10,000 and then I just recently raised it up to $15,000. And anybody who needs a ghostwriter, it's $30,000. So I'm like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what you say your price is, as long as you believe that you can earn that, right? Like, what do you believe you're worth? The number doesn't really matter. What do you believe you can actually pull in? See, I had already, in my mind, I already was making six figures as a teacher. So I'm like, if I'm already making this as a teacher, and I'm about to shift over here and do this, six figures has to be the floor. It is not the ceiling anymore. I'm in a whole different category now because I've shifted my mindset and I've applied everything that I've learned with all these different coaches and reading all these different books and going through all these different workshops and online courses. It all came together. And it all came together when I was doing the work, when I was in it, when I was super in the weeds. Like now I have a team that helps me with these books, but before it was just me. I was all up in the weeds, like reading it, editing, formatting, publishing, launching, selling, promotions, all of it, social media marketing, like all of the deal. I did it for myself, and all of those pieces I was doing for clients. And then I was like, wait a minute, I need a team. I need somebody to help me. I need to duplicate myself because this is too much. And so those of you that are still looking at this title, like your first 10K from your first book, like what is she talking about? You need to start thinking about your book as a product. Okay? Your book is a product. And when you have a product, you have a business. And when you have a business, you need to make sales. And when you make sales, then you have a profitable business with profitable products, and you can sustain your lifestyle. If you don't have sales and you got products, you got a problem because you have all this inventory. That stuff need to be pushed out immediately. Like you should be turning product quickly. Some of y'all that's from the streets, you know what I'm talking about. Your product needs to be changing hands real quick because money loves speed. And if you ain't making that money fast enough, you're becoming stagnant and irrelevant. And so I'm going to be breaking this down over the next few days. I'm going to be on here tomorrow night and the next night, and then I'll be out of town. I'm going to be in Atlanta over the weekend, and I'm going to come back on Monday. And I'm going to continue this series Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I have a couple of podcasts that I'm doing Wednesday night as a guest. And so I'll probably finish this conversation. I'm going to wrap it up between Monday and Thursday of next week, because I don't know if I'm going to go live over the weekend because I'm going to be traveling. So I probably will not be I'll go live, but I won't be doing this. This is going to be a big one. This is the training that everybody needs right now who has a book, especially people who have a book on the shelf that's dusty. Because I used to have a lot of books on the shelf that were dusty. And honestly, this is what happens to authors. Let me just tell you the roller coaster that's called authorship. And this is why if you don't have a strong, steady flow of income, you need to keep your day job. Because when you have a book, you promote it for the first 30 days and people buy it from you because they're curious and they want to know. First of all, some of these people don't even think that you're qualified to write a book. I'll just be honest with you. So some of these people are nosy and they're looking at it like, you wrote a book? What? And they won't do that to your face. but they'll do it behind your back, and they will buy your book so they can rip it up. I was on a Zoom call one time for 2 hours with someone who got my book and ripped it up and had the nerve to ask me a Zoom call so they could rip up my book in front of me. And they did. And that was excruciating, but it was liberating. Because when I got off of that call, I said, wow, I needed that. I needed that feedback. And once I got that feedback, I was like, ooh, never again. Never again. I'm going to take all this information that person just gave me, and I'm going to make myself better. And that's what I did. And so some people who buy your book, they just want to buy it so they can rip it up. And they're going to rip it up. Okay. And then you're going to have some people who buy your book and they're going to buy it because they truly love you, and they love you. They trust you. They want the best for you. So they're going to buy your book. And then you've got other people who just don't know, and like it resonates with them. And they're like, oh, this is an interesting book. So they're going to buy it too. But just know that when someone buys your book, that is an indication that you did a good job at marketing for that person to buy your book, because people don't give up their money easily. So give yourself a pat on the back if you have sold at least one. Okay, let's just start there. Start at one. If you sold one book, pat yourself on the back and put a 1 if you guys are still on here. I can't even see who's on here. But if you're on here, put a 1 if you've sold at least one book. Right? If you sold at least one book, pat yourself on the back. Here's what happens with authors. Because here's what happened with me. And then here's what happened with my clients too. And I can always tell, well, let me just tell you. The first 30 days, people buy your book. It's exciting. Everybody's loving it. We're all having fun. It's a win-win-win. First 30 days, people are going on Amazon. They're writing reviews for you. They're giving you kudos. They're giving you hugs. It's all beautiful. Honeymoon. And then the next 60 days, you start to get tired. Really, really tired, and life takes over. And your kids need you, and your spouse needs you, and your parents need you, and your dog needs you, and work needs you. And you just, the demands of life start to beat you down, and you forget about your book. So now it's 90 days out, and you're selling maybe 4 books a month, 5 books a month. And you're like, well, at least I'm selling some. And this goes on about 3 more months. And you're like, okay, all right. I'm not really selling any books anymore. What's going on? So you start to go do research, and you start to like take classes, and you start to join Facebook groups and try to learn like, what are some strategies that I can do to get these sales back up? So then what happens is you go down to 0. It's a year later, and your sales are at $0 a month. And so now you're desperate, and you just want someone to ask about your book. So you start giving them away for free. I did this. Trust me, I did this. You start just going to places and just giving them away for free because you just want to feel like you're relevant, because now your feelings are hurt. And so you give them away, and then you get criticized by your family members because they're like, and you don't want to hear it. So you're like, So now you're lying and telling people that you're not giving them away. way, right? And then you start to get some really good positive feedback from people who are reading it for free. And you're like, wow, maybe you start to get your confidence back. Well, maybe it really is good again. Like maybe, so you start to get a little bit of hope and a little bit of confidence. And then you're like, okay. So now I'm going to start putting myself out there again. So I'm going to start posting again. So you start posting again. It's been 12 months now. And nobody remembers who you are, but you show up on social media like, ah! And so you think that there's going to be this big influx of sales again, and then there's not. And so then you lose confidence again. And now we're at about 18 months. And you're like, fuck it. This is not going to work. And so you just shove the book into the closet and forget about it for about another year. I did this. I know how it works. So now you're at about 24 months later. It's 2 years later, maybe 3 years later. And you go to a conference and you sit in the front and you listen to the speaker. And then at the end of the conference, the speaker's in the back of the room selling their books. And they're signing their books. And you are mad as hell. Because you're like, well, how come they get to sell their books? And how come they get to speak on stage? And how come how do I know? Because I used to do this. And I used to be so mad as hell, knowing I have a book in the closet that has dust on it, and I'm like not doing what I'm supposed to be doing about my dream. And so that's what I'm telling you guys. If you have a dream, you have a vision, and somebody keeps talking to you and they keep telling you, and you keep waking up with the same damn dream, talking about, I really should probably get this book done. Or if it's in the closet and you're like, oh, I really should be selling. I really need to be promoting this book because I wrote it. I took all that time. I spent all that time and energy and money. And now I'm not even doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, oh, you go through this whole psychological warfare with yourself and you hate yourself and you're pissed at yourself and you're snapping at your family members and you're getting irritated. And you're getting sick, like your health is failing, like all these different things are happening because you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so here's what happens next. You start to feel a pity party. You feel bad about yourself. And then you see this Coach LT come up on social media and you're like, where the hell she come from talking to me about how I need to write my book or talking to me about how I need to sell my book and promote my book? So you get pissed at me for a minute. I got a love-hate relationship with the people on social media. I already know. You're going to love me. You're going to hate me, but you damn sure can't ignore me. And when you experience me, you will respect me because I'm all about my game. I'm all about my A game, and it ain't no shame in my game. I have a singular focus, and that is to build my brand. And I understand that my book is just the beginning. Your book is just the beginning, sweetheart. What you will realize is that what I just told you about my journey, it opened because I was obedient to what I was supposed to do. And I wrote my book and I put my book out there and I got people's attention. The book is what will get you people's attention, and it'll draw their attention back to you because you're the creator and you were created by a creator for the purpose of creating. So you'll find out that people really don't want your book. They really want you. People don't really want a piece of a thing with papers in it. They want the brilliance that's in your head. They want what's in you to be in them. That's why they buy your book. And so if you take the time to build relationships with your people and you show the hell up and you speak the way that you're supposed to speak in your own true, authentic voice, then the people who are supposed to be assigned to you will come to you. They will be attracted to you and they will tell you what they want. And when you build your fan base and you get super fans, they gonna buy every damn thing you got. You got a book, they're gonna buy it. You got a t-shirt, they're gonna buy it. You got a coffee mug, they're gonna buy it. You got a pencil, they're gonna buy it. You have a journal, they're gonna buy it. And so your first 10K, right, from your first book may not necessarily be from the actual copies of the book. I'll let that sink in. So what have you learned tonight? When you have a book, you have a business. When you have a business, you have a product. And when you sell those products, you make a profit, and then you're able to sustain your lifestyle. And then you're able to build a legacy for your lineage. And that's really what it's about. Because you ain't going to be here that long, boo. You ain't going to be here that long. So you only have this much time to make this much impact. And so this has taken me 7 years to build my brand. This has taken 7 years. And it's from me really digging deep and asking myself questions, and also calling my readers and calling my clients and asking them, what do you want from me? What do you need from me? What do you want to learn? Asking the questions and not being afraid to get the answer. That's what you got to do. You got to do your market research, and you got to find out, who is this book really for? See, I thought I was just writing a memoir just to write a memoir, but I wrote the memoir as a practice. And then I wrote another book on parenting as a practice. And then I wrote another book about teaching. And then I hit the jackpot. And I wrote a book about publishing. And that's what people wanted from me. And that's what they told me they wanted from me. So I was like, hey, let me just do what the people want. Let me give the people what they want. Hello. As soon as I started selling that book, more and more people started coming to me asking me the same question. How do I write a book? How do I publish a book? I want to do it for myself. How do I do it? And it went on and on and on and on and on. And my first book, which was the memoir, gave me the attention that I needed for people to start asking me for more of my gifts, more of my talents, more of my time. And then I started attaching invoices to those things. You need to attach an invoice to your time and your energy. If you're speaking on stage, you need to be sending out invoices before you hit any stage. You need to be sending out an invoice. If you're teaching a class, you need to be sending out an invoice. If you're going to put together a workshop, you need to charge tickets, charge admission to get in there. If you're going to do a professional development for a school, you need to be having them buy 1,000 copies of your book. Stop selling your books one by one by one by one. That's going to take you forever to make any money. You need to be connecting with libraries, churches, schools, colleges and universities. You need to be connecting with corporations, mom and pop restaurants, coffee shops, airports have books. You need to be networking, because your network is your net worth. You need to be contacting people who have hundreds of people who need your book, and sell the hell out of that book. And don't stop until you hit 10K with that one book. And then you can afford to go write another book. Stop writing all these books. I already made the mistake. Stop writing all these damn books and nobody's buying them. Stop it. Stop immediately. Because that's a waste of your time, your energy, and your money. There's no need in having all this inventory and no customers. Are you kidding me? Get some customers and provide the inventory. And if you're real slick with it, like one of my clients, she's real slick with it. Man, she impressed the hell out of me. She sent me a message on social media. Well, this was before she became my client. She sent me a message and she was so smooth. I was like, damn, she on her A game. She called me. She sent me a message on social media. She said, I'm writing a book and I'm doing a pre-sale. And she said, if you pay me X amount of dollars, I'll put your name in the book. And I said, where do I sign? Because everything is about name recognition. I was already book coaching. I had already written my books. And I was doing anthologies. And I want my book, I want my name in as many books as possible. She didn't know that, but she found out. And then she became my client. And I helped her write another book on top of that book. But she was slick with it. She said, I will put your name in my book if you send me X amount of dollars. I said, sold. Because now you can Google me and my name is all over Google because I'm very strategic and I'm very smart about where I put my name and where I put my face and where I put my voice. I'm very strategic. I don't pay for ads. Never have. I played with ads for about a month and it got me really irritated and I stopped. So probably for maybe 2 months, I played around with ads. Waste of money. Now, will I buy ads in the future? Yes. I'll probably buy ads in the future, yes. Because I'll just be too old to be out here doing this. I won't feel like doing all of this. This is fun. This is awesome. I can do this all day for 24 hours a day. No, it doesn't bother me. This is fun. But eventually I will buy ads to bring in, more eyeballs that I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm having fun meeting people like you. I'm having fun teaching and sharing my wisdom and rolling out the red carpet. This is honestly, we've been on here over an hour. This is honestly the first time that I have honestly rolled out my whole process. And this is not a process that I actually planned. It's a process that I have learned how to follow my intuition. I have learned how to make strategic partnerships with people who I can support and take them to the next level. And they can help me and support me and take me to the next level. So my relationships are key. And I also go back and I read my old journals and I look at my old thought patterns and I look at, okay, when I did that, when I made that decision, was that the right thing to do? Did that work? Okay, so I need to do that again because it worked. And now, am I going to tweak it a little bit? Let me try it again this way and see what happens that way. I'm an experimenter. I will experiment all the time. However, I won't change the things that are working. I've learned that. Don't change the things that are working. And what works is sell the hell out of your book until you can't sell it anymore, until you're just so freaking tired. And then you go get a team and you ask your team to help you sell the hell out of that book. And then when you have reached your energy cap and you don't have any more energy, then you need to start finding other ways that you can get paid around your book, like speaking, taking your book to an event and speaking on stage and selling your book in the back. That is going to accelerate the 10K, right? Get coaching clients. If people are asking you to coach them, start coaching them so that you can get to 10K faster than just selling one book at a time. I guarantee you there's somebody who's been in your ear like this. You've been sitting on the phone listening and you still haven't sent them an invoice. My phone barely rings. Look at my phone. Because people know when you on my phone, I'm sending you an invoice. So don't try to keep me for hours on the phone. I'm not talking to you that long because I'm out here building an empire for myself and for my family. I have 3 daughters. I have to set an example for those 3 women. They were never princesses. They were queens when they were born. And so I set the bar high, and I have to continue to set the bar high because I want them to be even more successful than me. Like my mama wanted for me, I want for them. And so when you start to value your time, your energy, your money, when you start to look at this thing as a legacy, you will not play around and let your books collect dust. You won't do that anymore. You won't do that anymore. And so this is the end of this training, but in the next training, I'm going to teach you some math. I'm not a math teacher, but I damn sure understand numbers when it comes to my money. And like my mama says, it's all about money, ain't a damn thing funny. You got to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. It's your duty, it's your responsibility, it's your honor to provide for yourself and your family. So stop playing. It is now almost the end of Q1. Q2, you better hit the damn ground running, which means you got to hit the ground running like tonight. If you want the next quarter to be something, you got to start like tonight. Tonight has to be it. You have to make a decision 10 toes down that this is what you're going to do right now. And if you're not ready to do it and you're not willing to do it, stop watching this stuff. Stop watching these videos. If you're not going to put in the work, if you're not going to take action just even a little bit. I'm not saying you have to do a whole bunch of stuff, but every day you got to do a little bit of something. You got to do a little bit. You got to be a little bit different this week than you were last week. Right? And so I'm giving you a goal. If you already have a book done, it's 10K, your first 10K from your first 10 book. When you hit 10K, then you can start entertaining the idea of writing another book or doing something different. But until then, you got to promote that one thing. That's your product, right? You look at all the fast food places, it started with a burger. And then they added the fries and the drink. And then the milkshake. My milkshake brings, okay, that just went through my mind. But anyway, it started with the burger, the fries and the shake, the fries and the soda, and then they added the shake. Okay, they didn't all of a sudden say, we've got the burger, the fry, the soda. We should start throwing in enchiladas. Like I would have bought it because I like mixing food like that. But you can't do that. So for me to create 8 different books, those are 8 different audiences. And that's 8 different marketing strategies. Those are 8 different promotional campaigns. 8 different books. I didn't know why I was pulling my hair out. trying to sell 8 different books. Really? I was doing it. And then I had online courses, and then I was doing my podcast on my YouTube channel and all kinds of. Now people do the podcast on the YouTube channel. Like people, so many things people are doing now to monetize different platforms. If you're an author and if you're in love with your work, if you're in love with your book, like I'm in love with my books, you need to take one at a time. Hit 10K with that one book and then move on to the next one if you want to. You don't have to. But this is what I've done. And this is what I've done over and over and over for myself and for my clients. And my clients who actually focus in and do what I tell them to do, they get the results, and they get better results than I do. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. I have clients who are book coaches now. And so they're using what I taught them to go teach other people how to publish their books. And it's flattering. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Everyone that I teach, I want them to do more than I ever did. I want them to reach more. I want them to become more. I want them to have more. I teach people to fish. I don't want people coming back to me for my fish sandwich. I want you to know how to fish. And so if you don't take anything else away from this conversation, and if you don't get a chance to make it to the next part of the series, because this is going to be a 6-part series for sure. Because there's a lot I need to roll out in terms of these numbers. I'm really going to be breaking down these numbers and helping you understand your author brand and your author identity. You need to be the author, right? People talk about best-selling author, best-selling, international bestseller. I posted something the other day about international bestseller. You have to be an international bestseller before you even have a book. Like, you need to be walking around here as an international bestseller. And you better know more than one language if you want to be an international bestseller, right? You better be going to the gym every day because you're going to be traveling, getting on stages as an international bestseller, right? You have a lot of people to serve if you want to be an international bestseller. You got a lot of people to meet. You got a lot of people to serve. You got a lot of podcast interviews to be on if you want to be an international bestseller. Like, be careful what you ask for, because you will get it. You'll get it, but are you ready for it? This is why you have to be the person who deserves the accolades and deserves the honors and deserves the money. You have to be the kind of person who can handle what comes along with your success. And so this is called your first 10K from your first book, because I want you to now recalibrate your mind. And I want you to realize that I'm going to give you some statistics in the next one. I didn't get a chance to. I have like 6 pages of notes here that I want to share with you guys. I didn't even touch none of them, because that's what I'm saying. I got 6 pages of notes. This is going to be a 6-part series because I can talk about this for the next 5 years. I have enough content for the next 5 years. But just start to say to yourself, 10K, my first book needs to make 10K. And it needs to make 10K as fast as possible, because most authors will make 10K like in a year or 2 to 3 years or 5 years, right? Like, it took me to hit 10K from my books, took me like 5 years to hit 10K just from my books. But from my coaching and my speaking and my teaching and all that other stuff, that didn't take too long. And so I'm going to roll out some more details for you. And I may just do this in my Facebook group. So for those of you that are not in my Facebook group, you need to get into my Facebook group, because I think I'm going to do some nitty-gritty details for the people that are already in my Facebook group and really, really roll out the numbers and really talk about, like, this is what I make from this. This is what I make from that. This is what I make from that. Because I really want you to see, like, this is multiple streams of income. This is not just, you can't do much on one income. Like, I'm just telling you, for the dreams that you have, you need more incomes, honey. It's just, you're making your life difficult when you only have one income. I'll just put it that way. You're making life difficult for yourself and for your family when you only have one income. And so when the book comes out, that needs to be another income. So that means you need to be pre-selling before that book even comes out. Because when you buy a t-shirt from the school, you pre-sell that. You pre-buy that. You give them the money, you give them your size, and then you get your t-shirt later. Those of you that are scared of pre-selling, get out of there. Stop. I heard so many people say, well, I can't sell because I don't have a book yet. You can't sell because you don't have a book yet? Are you kidding me? You know how many things people sell and they don't even have it yet? Get with the program. Get with the program. Elevate your consciousness. Elevate your confidence. Work on your mindset. And you will be just fine. Get this in your pipe and smoke it. If you don't believe that you can make 10K with your book, you will not. If you don't believe that you can even get a book done, like I tell people, we could get your book done in 90 days, 30 days, 60 days, 20 days. I had a client get their book done in 20 days. I had another client get their book done in 5 days. I had one client get his book done in 1 day. He's like, LT, I don't have all day. I don't have a lot of days. So what I did was I took all your stuff. I took your formula, remixed it, republished, because he already had the book published. He published it again using my system in 1 day. I was like, bet. That's excuse me, but that's somebody who has the determination and has the drive to actually, like, get something done. Because once he saw what I was teaching to my people, he was like, oh, I need that. He's like, I did my first book by myself. He's like, and it didn't look like that. He's like, I need to use your stuff to make my stuff look better. And that's what I'm here for. So for those of you who are like, you know what, I've heard enough, I need to just hire you. You need to email me, contact@LatashaJemersonLibrary.com, and we will get on a call and I will talk about how I can support you with your book journey. For those of you that are like, shoot, I want to hire you, but I don't have the money right now. Okay, you need to come to my free writing clinic. We do it twice a month. It's on Thursdays. The next one is coming up in 2 days. And it's a 2-hour writing experience. And this is for people who say that they have writer's block, which there's no such thing as writer's block. You just ain't in the right environment. That's your problem. You are in the midst of whatever you got going on in your house, whatever's happening at work. I don't know what kind of environment you're putting yourself in, but if it's toxic, you ain't writing nothing. If it's hectic and loud, you ain't getting nothing done. So you need to be in an environment that's conducive to book writing. And so I teach that in my writing clinic. We get in there, we write, I give you the prompts. If you want the writing prompts ahead of time, then you need to get my journal. It's a 30-day breakdown. I give you 30 writing prompts for 30 days so that you can literally start putting your brain into the rhythm, into the energetic space. You need to get your brain, you need to get your mind right so you can write right. That's what I say. Get your mind right so you can write right. And once you get your mind right and you write right, then you're going to get your life all the way right. So, I mean, it's a choice, it's a decision. So, for those of you that want the link to get into the writing clinic, send me an email. I will send you the link to get into the writing clinic. The writing clinic is free. If you want the journal prompts before you come to class, because I'm going to give you the prompts as we're going through the writing clinic, I'm going to give you the prompts. We're going to do them together. But if you want the prompts ahead of time, then you need to get the journal. The journal is a whole whopping $8. It's on sale right now because I just released it. Like, it's hot off the press this week. So if you want that journal, it's $8. Just raise your hand and say, hey, send me the link to get that $8 journal so I can show up to the writing clinic and be all the way right and ready to write, right? And so that's what we're doing this week. And I cannot wait to see y'all. I love my writing clinic family. Y'all are just y'all make me so warm and fuzzy inside because, you know, as a writer, as a creative, I'm going to say this and then I got to get off of here. As a creative, I mean, as a glasses, like I've always worn the Coke bottle glasses, right? I've always had the big 5 head, right? And it's because I have a lot of knowledge and I read a lot and I write a lot. And I've always felt like a weirdo. And so the people who come into my writing clinics, they're weirdos. They're writers, they're readers, they're poets, they're bloggers, content creators. Some of them are pastors, preachers, and ministers. A lot of them are teachers. Who else? Counselors, nurses, people who are caretakers. Like, it's so interesting. I just met someone the other day who's a nurse and also a writer. And I'm like, wow, you've got the science and the math, and then you've got the English and the history. Like, you put it all together. She's like, yep, I'm creative and I'm also compassionate and caring. And she's like, and I love who I am. I'm like, yes, you are my people. Like, I love it. So if you've ever felt kind of like a weirdo, right? Like, because you love words, like you eat words for breakfast, like you love coming up with quotes and little antidotes and all kinds of stuff, little stories, and you love telling stories, like, you're my people. So you just need to be in my world. You just need to come in. My Facebook group, there's 2 of them. There's one, it's called Your First Book Club. Up in the club, get up in the club. It's free. Come on up. And then I have my other club, and this is just for people who have already finished their books, and now they're looking for tips on how to market and how to relaunch. And so if you don't have a book yet, come into Your First Book Club. And if you already have a book, then you need to get into your next book club, how to relaunch your book. Okay? All right, y'all. So this is the end of your first 10K from your first book. Thank you for joining me. I'm so proud of you for being here. Thank you for showing up for me, the community, and thank you for showing up for yourself, because that's what's important. This is definitely going to be a 6-part series because I can already see there's going to be a lot of questions. And so the next, I think it's going to be tomorrow, we are going to talk about the numbers. We're going to break down that 10K number. It's a big number. It's a big number if you are not used to working with the 10K number. If you're not used to working with more than 3 zeros or more than 2 zeros, then it can be daunting, especially when you think of a book. Because a lot of y'all are putting your books at $8.99. And so how long is it going to take you to get to 10K and your book is $8.99? So we're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about positioning. We're going to talk about confidence and marketing. And we're going to get into this. I love this. This is the love of my life. This is what I do all day long and twice on Sunday, 365, 24/7. Or like my oldest daughter would say, 25/8. All right, y'all. I'm having way too much fun. I love you. Hopefully I see you in the writing clinic. And I really want to see you inside of my Facebook groups. That would be awesome. It's free. Love you. Bye.